he said that he was there in IAShub and he was under the guidance of MK Yadav sir. I somehow felt that if this senior is choosing someone, it should be relevant. These are literally last hour notes. How I literally used, enjoy it, use it, be creative about it. That's it.
हाय बच्चों, नमस्कार. सो आज हमारे साथ हैं एक वन ऑफ माय स्टूडेंट ऑफ दिस ईयर, वैभव आनंद शर्मा. वैभव गॉट ऑल इंडिया रैंक 58 दिस ईयर. ये इनका थर्ड अटेम्प्ट था. सो वैभव वाज एसोसिएटेड विद अस द IAShub फॉर क्वालिटी एनरिचमेंट प्रोग्राम एंड एथिक्स एनरिचमेंट प्रोग्राम. सो आज वैभव दिल्ली आए हैं. सो मैं चाह रहा था कि इन्होंने जैसे मेंस में इन अलग अलग कोर्सेज का यूज़ किया और इनकी जो खुद की नॉलेज है, ही वाज एसोसिएटेड विद सम अदर इंस्टीट्यूट्स एज वेल, तो उस नॉलेज को कैसे यूज़ करके इन्होंने UPSC CSE 2023 में 58 रैंक ये लेके आए हैं. सो उसका ये सेशन है. और QEP स्पेसिफिक, हाउ ही यूज्ड QEP इन वेरियस आंसर्स, GS1 में, 2 में, 3 में, कुछ कंपोनेंट्स, इवन एथिक्स में, फाइनल इंटरव्यू में भी इन्होंने उसको यूज़ किया है. सो ये थोड़ा डिटेल्ड सेशन होगा विद एग्जाम्पल्स. उनके खुद के नोट्स हैं जो उन्होंने शॉर्ट नोट्स बनाए थे, उनको यूज़ कैसे किया है. सो ये 40-45 मिनट का सेशन है जिसमें ये आपको समझाएंगे कि हाउ ही यूटिलाइज्ड ऑल द हैंडआउट्स विच वर अवेलेबल. सो सेशन शुरू करने से वैभव, पहले मैं चाहूँगा कि आप थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताएं, थोड़ा सा फैमिली बैकग्राउंड में बताएं. जो हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि इससे पहले आपने प्राइवेट सेक्टर में भी जॉब किया है, उसके बाद 5 साल हो गए आपको ब्रॉडली प्रिपरेशन के लिए. सो आई वांटेड यू टू एक्सप्लेन ऑल दोस पार्ट्स.
So if I tell you the start and the end of my UPSC specific journey, then in April 2019, I decided that I will prepare for this exam and I quit my job specifically on 6th April 2019. And in April 2024, I became an IAS. So this is bumper to bumper my story of UPSC preparation. Before that, regarding my family background, then I was born to a father who is a district homeopathic medical officer, retired now, and my mother is a housemaker. And that's how, because of my father's job and his inclination towards, his adoration towards the civil servants in the society to whom he used to report, that actually cued my interest towards the civil services, and that's how I got interested in it.
सो बीच में मैं बताना चाहूँगा, इनके फादर साहब से एक छोटी सी बात हुई थी मेरी इनके लिए. सो मुझे वैसे एज ए टीचर बहुत सारे बच्चों के पेरेंट्स से बातें होती हैं, बट वो होता ना एक छोटा 30 सेकंड का कन्वर्सेशन आपको याद रह जाता है. सो मुझे इनके फादर साहब का 30 सेकंड का, इतनी अच्छी और मीठी हिंदी बोलते हैं वो कि नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं चाहूँगा कि कभी उनसे मिलूंगा तो एक छोटा सा इंटरव्यू वगैरह भी करेंगे. ही स्पीक्स वेरी वेरी स्वीट हिंदी. सो वैभव, आई थिंक इसको शुरू करते हैं.
Yes.
इस सेशन को ब्रॉड अंडरस्टैंडिंग इस सेशन की यही है कि आपको नोट्स कैसे बनाने हैं. जो फ्रेश बच्चे हैं, जो कॉलेज में बच्चे हैं, नोट्स कैसे बनाने हैं, उन नोट्स से समरी नोट्स कैसे बनाने हैं, और फाइनली एग्जाम रेडी नोट्स जो 1 पेजर हैं जो आपको वैभव सिखाएंगे कि इन्होंने कैसे बनाए थे. सो ओवर टू यू वैभव.
Thank you, sir. So what you are seeing right now in front of you is the PDF that you will see once you are into this course and trying to use it. So this will be the quality enrichment program PDF specifically for education. So I got to know about QEP basically from a Josh Talk UPSC specifically. So I do not remember the name of the topper who was there at the podium at that time, but I remember that statement that he was not able to clear mains. And then he specifically took the name of MK Yadav sir. So that's how I thought. And yes, I remember one more name, and that is Kshitiz Saxena sir, who is Indian Forest Service. He's also my school senior. So he was the head boy, I was the house captain. So that's how when I searched the name of my school senior, and he said that he was there in IAShub and he was under the guidance of MK Yadav sir, I somehow felt that if this senior is choosing someone, it should be relevant. So that's how also, these two toppers cued me towards it. And then I took a gamble. It's not a cheap course. It's 24,000 or 23,000 rupees course. But I took the gamble because I wanted to clear mains. And I would say that I was not dissatisfied. So there were many content elements that I used in multiple stages. As sir said, I even used in some snippets in my interview. So I think this is a lot to mention, right? So sir, now can I just so this is the PDF of education and skill development, right? If you open it, when you will open it, you will see that there is an index. You can here get a snippet of what you're going to have in this complete PDF. So if we start here, previous year questions. Now it's very important to see previous year questions. Needless to say, everyone knows it. For example, if we look at agriculture section of GS3, then we can say that the topic of mixed farming has been repeated in one form or the other. If we look at the federalism part of GS2, topic has been repeated. In similar way, you can get how various that particular theme has repeated itself. It's not just about opening previous year question of 2013 or 17, because everything is mixed there. UPSC does not offer you that paper with theme wise. It is just there, but you need to segregate it. And if you are a little new in this process, then it is always beneficial if you already get this. This is not spoon feeding. This is smart work feeding. So here you can see that how exactly this theme has been repeated in 2014, GS2, GS3 and essay, because education is something that is everywhere. I think sir will add even one more dimension, and that would be ethics, because somewhere we can link it to that dimension also. You can take that creativity. Now here GS2, this question, GS3, this question. In similar way in 2015, in 2016. So this way you get a hang of it, that what all permutations and combinations or what all avatars a theme can take in different papers, and that's how you can use it. Now if you come to here, this repeated themes from previous year questions. So theme 1 is a school education. Now the broader umbrella theme is education and skill development. But exactly what got repeated? It is theme 1, school education. Theme 2, higher education. Theme 3, technology in education. Theme 4 is policy and acts. If there is a national education policy, then it's a policy. It's not only related to higher education or school education, it's a policy. So that is here. Skill development, that how we are going to talk about our demographic dividend, how to make sure that it does not become a demographic disaster, that sort of things. So you get that understanding. Here is other expected topics. So it's not only about following what already happened, it's also about predicting what can happen. You cannot imagine a situation wherein you are going to predict everything what is going to happen, but this is going to train your brain cells. This is going to train your neurons, your mind, that how to think. You can take this skill and use your own mind and create something also new while you are preparing your notes. I'll show you how. Now come here. Here is the fact sheet. See, don't get humbled by these facts. You don't have to remember all of it. I'll tell you exactly how. But facts are important to make sure that your answers look credible, they're legible. Because ultimately you have to talk statistically and scientifically. You cannot just express your own opinions until unless asked. And even if you are talking about opinions, they need to be fact-based. That's why you need this. So here if you see literacy rate, it's 74%, all India is 74%, rural is 74%. So if you look at it, both are 74%. So when you are cramming this fact, you should club it into one in your mind. That 74%, when it will come into my mind, I will say that it is not only all India, it's also rural. Now, you can also have snippets from your own life. For example, 82% is my class 12th percent, right? And 65% is my BTech percent. So this is my understanding. This is how I created a retrieval queue for my memory. You can also use it from your own personal life. So these facts become a game of few retrieval cues from your own life. It is not something that you have to cram in a very mechanistic fashion. So here if you come, to be very honest, when I read QEP and I prepared, I was not able to do this. I was not able to do this. But maybe you feel the need, because everyone's preparation strategy is a little unique. But if you feel the need, please go ahead. But it will be the fact that I will focus on something, you will focus on something, but no topper or no one who is going to ace this exam will focus on everything. But it's like Gandhiji, everyone will find something to resonate with. So here you can find what exactly suits to your own strategy. I did not cram this minute data here. Time. Yes, sir. And time constraint भी था मेरा. उसका scene ये था कि because I got into QEP after clearing prelims, and that too after 20 days. So both the ethics enrichment program and the QEP, which benefited me a lot, I got introduced to it 20 days after I have already celebrated my prelims result. Not only prelims result. So I had a very small window to prepare from this. So that's why I did it. Pupil teacher ratio, all these are facts. You can always use it. Now these are keywords. So again, I would say that you do not have to use all these keywords. For example, I remember one thing, and that is blank as a mass movement. For example, sanitation as a mass movement, skill development as a mass movement, female emancipation as a mass movement, female empowerment as a mass movement. So as a mass movement is a keyword, I have just added a fill in the blanks, and I will use it everywhere. So use these keywords very smartly. Skill capital of the world. You replace a skill with something else. For example, ethical capital of the world. You can say that because we have a long civilizational history. We have a lot of books in which we are talking about ethics. We can be ethical capital of the world. There can be a potential question where you can use it. Who knows? So be creative about it. Okay? Quality without quality syndrome, right? So you have to find out which very organically gets embedded into your mind. Choose that, use that. See, ocean of mediocrity to centers of excellence. Where you can use it? You can use it in higher education systems. You can use it in primary education also. I remember one fact, I'm not very sure, from the QEP only, that China teaches as many children as us, but with far less number of schools. So you can use that same logic here. Ocean of mediocrity to centers of excellence. Harmonize the number of schools and create more skill-heavy schools, excellence-heavy schools at one place, right? So this is that. If you come here, there are case studies. Case studies are important again, just like facts. They add glitter to your answer. All this will not replace your basic notes, but it is going to make your basic notes work, shine, fly. So if you see here, Pota Cabin schools. These are the schools which are ensuring that our citizens, which are there in the Naxalism affected areas, they're able to get the beautiful gift of education. So here, Pota Cabin, this will also come in empathy. This will also come in ethics, because it is institutional empathy towards our citizens who are there in the Naxalism affected areas that we are designing Pota Cabin schools. No matter if we are not able to have good schools, let's have Pota Cabin schools, education should continue. So this is empathy also. So you have to be creative about what you are reading here. See, back to school, Gyanodaya. I used this answer, Baste ka boj kam, even in my interview. So we were talking about education, and we were talking about how education can be made better. I remember my own school days where we were having a lot of books and a lot of burden. So here we have Baste ka boj kam. What we are doing here, we are making integrated books. A child does not need multiple books for multiple subjects. We are making integrated books so that, there we read something. Centers of excellence something. So you see, ocean of mediocrity, centers of excellence. So instead of having multiple mediocre books, have one excellent book. So you can this way also create mental linkages into different aspects that you're reading. That's why, that is how, even not, I would not say cramming, I would say learning from this document will become very easy. You have to be creative about what we are reading here. Let's come here. So again, this is a good case study. I wrote it down. You will see it in my handwritten notes that I have written only this. So choose your case study that appeals to you the most, because what appeals to you the most will be in your long-term memory, and that is what you will be able to use in the exam. See here, adopt a government primary school by primary individuals in Uttar Pradesh. Don't you think this example can be used in ethics? Does not it signify responsibility of a well-flourished individual towards his or her own society? Yes, it does. You can use it. So that's why when you are, for example, reading education and skill development, please do not create artificial mental boundaries that it is going to be used only in education. When question of education will come, I will write it down. Don't create those boundaries. Let those boundaries be fluid, and this content might be wonderful for you. It might be the portion of excellence that you need. But it will not replace your basic notes. It is there to make your basic notes shine and fly. Speeches from Prime Minister, Vice President, and President. It is important because these are the policy faces of your country. Prime Minister, Vice President, Honorable President of India. So if you are quoting something that these esteemed personalities have quoted, it adds weightage to your answer. It adds sincerity to your answer as an aspirant and a future bureaucrat. So that's what you can do. For example, if we talk about here on education and youth, then skill and education are the two principal tools during India's Amrit Kal, and it is the youth who are leading the nation's Amrit Yatra with the vision of a developed India. So if a question comes on youth, you can use it. If a question comes on the aspiration of us as citizens to make our beautiful country a developed country by 2047, you can use it. If the question comes on skill or education, you can use it. So don't read it mechanically. Otherwise, this material cannot do anything for you. You have to be creative about it. Use it as a seed. Let that seed sprout. Let the tree flourish. Come here. Some quotes from National Education Policy and other sources. Again, because of the same logic, we were quoting Honorable President, Vice President, and Honorable Prime Minister of India. In the same breath, we are quoting this. Now, this flowchart, it is not only about learning this flowchart. It is not. Maybe you are never able to use this flowchart, but it is about developing the art of making flowchart. So if you develop an organized capability in your mind to write flowcharts, for example, if there is a malnourished woman, unfortunately case, if we imagine, if there is a malnourished woman, there are chances that that lady is going to give birth to a malnourished child. And that malnourished child might lead to a stunted individual, stunted child, when the child grows up. So this is just a simple example of how simple arrows can create a diagram. Now, this is not something that is written here, but when you start consuming knowledge in this fashion, your brain cells get trained to use those lines, arrows under a box and make your answers attractive when needed. But they're also an excellent way to consume information in an organized fashion. Because when we consume information in an organized fashion, it gets stored in an organized fashion. And when it is stored in compartmentalized manner, organized manner, it will get replicated in the answers. Because ultimately, your answers in the main exam will be a reflection of how your notes are. If your notes are organized, your answers are likely to be organized. So see, significance of education at individual level and society or nation level, right? Now, it is not that your question will ask specifically about individual and society. Your question may ask significance of education for women. But if you start consuming information in this fashion, you will be also able to write in the answer for women, household, professional environment, household environment. So this is not something which is written here. This is not something that I prepared before this talk. This is something I can develop on the moment, at the moment, because I know how to consume information this way. You try to train your mind, eventually it will become like that. Education system in India, what are the challenges? See, it might look like a very long document. But if you look at my notes, which I've created from this document, they are simple 2.5 pages notes from the same document. So you don't have to cram everything, but you should know the broad categories in which you are going to write your answer. Okay? Always keep in mind that what is the size of the page in which you are going to write your mains answers. If you have that clear, you will know how to make sure, you will know how to make use of this beautiful content. See what is written here? At school level, dismal learning outcomes. We all do. Aren't we all, victims of that? When we were in schools, did we have the conscience to throw the plastic in the dustbin when the time comes? No, I don't think so. In my case, it was not. So dismal learning outcomes, you don't have to learn it. It's a fact of life for all of us. So here, you don't have to learn it. But here, as observed by ASER survey, ASER survey, and National Achievement Survey. Now, just now, a very simple understanding of our life got communicated in a very practical fashion. You know how to read this. ASER survey, National Achievement Survey, a very simple fact of life that there is dismal education learning outcome. You quoted with very relevant and statistical fashion. This is what this content can teach you, right? Come here. See, only 50% graduates are employable. If you quote this as per India Skills Report, just imagine yourself sitting in the UPSC Bhavan in front of that board and you say that our graduates are unemployable. Then imagine a second situation in which you are saying 50% of our graduates are employable. Then imagine a situation in which you are saying, sir, as per India Skills Report 2022, 50% of our graduates are employed. These three statements convey three personality shades. Only one of them is fit to be a bureaucrat. You know which one. So this content also teaches you that. And obviously, needless to say, it goes without saying, it is usable in your mains preparation as well. So these are the acronyms. See, personally, you don't have to get burdened. Personally, I did not use this mode in this way, but I know some of my respected previous year selected candidates like Mr. Shivan Chaudhary who used to love it. I personally did not. And that is, again, coming back to the first point, QEP is used by every candidate in a different fashion. It is not supposed to be a monolithic content which is to be consumed in a monolithic fashion. You can use it on your own terms. I did not like this because I thought that it was burdening my mind. Maybe it is something that is a aha moment for you. Okay, I got this. You might feel very privileged to have this, so it depends upon you. But again, in this, if you look at A, access to funds, 6% of GDP. This is a fact. I would note this fact. So I use this also in my own terms, on my own terms. You also have to do that. See, privatization of school education. This is also a very running theme on our social discussions. It might come in your optional if it is sociology. It might come in ethics. It might come in essay. It might be a discussion in your interview. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be threatened by this material. No, enjoy it. Enjoy it on your own terms. Try to practice it. It will become part of your long-term memory. We all tend to forget. It's not that I remember everything what I read. No, I don't. In fact, I was scared. Sir, I do not remember anything. How do I present this? But I have to tell you how you can do it, especially how you can peak with your knowledge, with your skills during the exam. This will help you with that. See, merits and demerits. Benefits of privatization, demerits of privatization. So this is not only just about giving you facts. It is also telling you how to think. UPSC questions are all about positives and negatives. There is a lot of negative talk about coaching industry, but it is also positive. Why? Because it is making sure that very progressive discussions are reaching the corners of our households. People who would have never listened to or consumed that kind of content, they are looking at that kind of content. They are looking at various videos and getting themselves aware regarding Article 370 or federalism. So merits are there and demerits are also there. So this is also telling you how to train your mind, right? Now this is conclusion. Because ultimately in your answers, conclusion is that moment where you are requesting, I would not say pushing or tricking, I would say requesting the examiner to understand your worth one last time. You have written your answer, there is intro, there is body. Conclusion is that last option, that last opportunity to get a few more marks by conveying your worth to the respectable examiner. So you get some ideas for your conclusion from this slide. Again, don't consume it monolithically. Don't think that this is the only conclusion you can write. Be creative about it. This is your bullet. Where you have to fire it depends upon your creativity. Because ultimately, this material is not going to get AIR 58 or AIR 1. You are going to get AIR 1 or 58. Use this as a content which is used by your creativity, right? Reforming India's education assessment system. This is again a theme. Obviously, as bureaucrats, you might be required to reform. You will be required to reform. This is a running theme. Education is also a topic in GS2 syllabus. running theme. So you can expect a question may come. Maybe direct question will not come. Maybe this will come as a way forward somewhere. Maybe I can suggest it as a steps in some question. So you have to be creative about it. Again, teacher empowerment, education reform. Again, this is flowchart. This way you can develop how to think about it. Motivation, recruitment, accountability and performance. So this is the same replication of the way in which information was presented in the previous slides. Empowering teachers. How to empower your teachers? This question was even asked in my interview. And I said that we need to respect our teachers. The way IAS officers are celebrated, the way we celebrate billionaires, fortunately that too just now, it's a recent trend. In the same way, we have to celebrate the intellectual capitalists of our country, and that is our teachers. But you cannot say simply this in an answer. In that way, I was able to convey my emotions to the interview board. But when I'm writing, things change. So for that, you need segregation. How you will segregate? Teachers as teacher recruitment में क्या change करोगे? Pre-service teacher education में कैसे change करोगे? So this way, you are going to empower your teachers. You cannot simply say that we have to respect. We have to make them more skilled. We have to make them better. But in interview, you do not have the scope to say all this. You cannot give the entire Ram Katha. But in mains, you have to be ready with this dimension, right? So the way we think, the way we speak has to be a little different with the way we write when we are writing mains answers. That's why you need to know these dimensions. Again, a new theme, higher education system. See, just a few months back, foreign higher education institutions in India, whether they should be there or not, this was a debate that was going on. Now, what do you think? If a question comes from this topic, is it going to be very limited to foreign higher education institutions? No. This is a complete higher education theme that has been put back to the national scene, to the national discussion. So that's why you should know it, okay? Along with a very specific one-pager note for foreign higher education institutions. You should know that how much money actually goes out because of foreign higher education institutions that are placed in foreign, and how much will be saved when we place them in India. These are suggestive measures. So if you take a pause and don't be threatened by the number of PDFs, number of pages, 28. These 28 pages, if you read carefully with a calm mind, with a cup of coffee, if you're going online like me, relax, give 2.5 hours. You will know what to write finally, what you like. And ultimately, these 28 pages will be just 4 pages for you. And they will be very powerful 4 pages for you, which you will be able to write in your mains exam. In fact, I'll be honest, I did not tell this to my friends who were also preparing for mains because I did not want to lose my competitive edge. But now, since God has given me the opportunity, I've got my thing. Maybe I'm sharing this now. So it is a secret, all right? For me at least. And I'm not promoting this in any unethical fashion. This is my true belief. National education policy. Repeatedly questions are being asked. 2020, the first mains in which, I wrote the first mains in my first attempt. National education policy was a question in ethics paper, I think. I may be wrong here. But all this policy will be useful in GS paper 1, society. Society doesn't include education. It does. It will be beneficial in GS paper 2. Directly education is mentioned. GS paper 3. Through education, you are increasing the skill. Does not it have a role to play in economy? It does. Ethics. When you are having 360-degree assessment in national education policy, does not it tell you how to value your peers? It does. Because now the road will not stop at just being a topper. You have to respect your fellow aspirants. That is 360-degree assessment. So try to use this policy also in all papers. So you have all the data right here. Higher education and everything. Quantitative and qualitative changes brought in by NEP. Now, quantitative and qualitative, these may look like very simple terms, but this is again a thought process. If somebody looks at, if somebody asks you what is the role of RBI, can't you divide it in the same categories, quantitative and qualitative? When RBI does moral suasion, when it teaches or tells banks that you have to behave properly, simple language I'm using, it is qualitative. But when the RBI changes the repo rate, it is quantitative. So this quantitative and qualitative are not mere words. It's a thought process that you have to develop, which we can use at multiple places in your mains. So that's what I'm saying. Be creative about it. These are again diagrams. I think I can glance through it. Role of digital technology. It's a very important theme. Now I'm glancing through it because it has the same characteristics like the previous topics. You have to pause and see to it what it is. See, digital divide. Now this is a point which you necessarily do not have to limit yourself to using it only in digital questions. Use it in GS1. Digital divide, is it not there among males and females? It is there. And digital divide is one of the reasons because of which we are looking at satellite-based internet now. Now this satellite-based internet, will it not bridge the digital divide? Because where you cannot lay the cables, you are sending the satellite signals. So digital divide is just a word here, but it has multiple uses, multiple places. So it is also a revision cue for you. So treat this material like that. Again, the same thing. You have to be creative. Ready reference, key government initiatives. Again, the same logic that we talked about. Learning outcomes. It is not a simple heading. It is a keyword. Learning outcomes, evaluating learning outcomes, make sure that the education budget is working. What does the ASCR report tells you? Learning outcomes. So try to use these words. Because without using these words, trying to convey in a systematic fashion will become very difficult. See, flagship schemes. We all know about flagship mobile phones. It's time to know about flagship schemes. It will help you in your mains answers. And it will also help you convey your thoughts very systematically in your interview also, my dear friends. Digital initiatives in education. Not only flagship schemes, not only initiatives, not only best case studies, not only international best practices, specifically digital initiatives. See? So if you're getting this content, be sure you are ready to consume it. Because understanding this content and consuming it needs you to be a little mature. When you are ready to consume it, this will be the game changer. But if you are not, you will be humbled by it. So if you are reading your static portion, please read it. And once you finish it, once you are there that I want to prepare for mains now, I'm already a little mature candidate, use this. This is not for starting the journey. This is for finishing the journey, this content. See, Shodh Sindhu. Now, if you write this and you also know this, I'm not talking about how to deceive the examiner. I don't believe in that. You have to convey it to the respected examiner that you deserve it. If you remember Shodh Sindhu and you know what does it do and you write it, it will catch the attention of the examiner. And that's how you can convey that you are a deserving aspirant. See, again, skill development India is a theme. See, if somebody asks you why sector skill councils are not working, can't you use this data or this thought process? If somebody asks you, link it to the previous content that we read, 50% of our graduates are unemployable, can't you use it? You can. There are interlinkages within the syllabus, within the same paper, within different topics, and within different content snippets in this PDF also. Measures required. No answer ends with way forward, without way forward, most of the times. Even if it is not asked, then to add dynamism into your answers. What do you do? Ultimate, what is the objective of all this? Preparing the exam, getting motivated. Measures required. That is the objective. We have to make our beautiful country developed by 2047. It's on war footing that we have to do. then what are the key measures that we have to do? You have to remember this. If you remember skills on wheel, see, I do not remember what it is. Trust me, I do not remember what this is. But skills on wheels, it looks like a van that is about education or an automobile that is about education, which goes to remote places. Let's read what it is. Skills on wheel type initiatives should be used to address infrastructure and transport constraints. There are shining examples of skill trucks. See, if I was able to understand simply by skills on wheel, what does it mean? Will the respected examiner not able to understand it? Yes. I'm not making this up. I did not know, but it's very clear from the name. That is the beauty of keywords. See, skilling vulnerable section. Vulnerable section is a topic in GS2. You're reading education and skill development, but you're also getting prepared yourself. You're preparing yourself for vulnerable section. Use it like that. There are yojanas. What people do is that people think that cramming the names of the yojanas is the only enrichment you need. No, everyone is doing that. Everyone is doing that, trust me. But you have to be a little more creative. For example, Baste ka boj kam. This I will take it to my grave. Baste ka boj kam. I use it in my interview. I use it in mains. I enjoy repeating it. I enjoy talking about it. So if you can find 10 to 15 things that you enjoy talking about it, you will not have to stress about learning it. That's why I said, enjoy this content. Enjoy it. It is entertainment actually. Enjoy it, use it, be creative about it. That's it. Done. Now, if we talk about how I used it, how I use this PDF, let's see that. So can I close it?
Yeah.
Let's close this also. This is internal security, I think. Yes, let's close it. Yes. I will tell you how you will use it in mains later. This is final revision. See this. These are my notes. And these are my notes of... this used to happen with you in class. See. Yes. This is my notes of that PDF that you saw. It is just 6-page PDF. And that too, when I write very broadly, so much space, I do not believe in writing like, ants walking on paper. Ultimately, your time that you consume on your notes should be less. Doesn't mean if the notes are this much. My current affair notes are this big. But I used to revise it in 2 hours because I used to leaf through it. I write very broadly, leave a lot of space. That's why it is 6 pages. If you are a different kind of candidate, it might be 2 pages. See, I did not write everything. Only 74, 82, 65. Why? Because 82 is my 12th percentage, unfortunately. And 65 is my BTech percentage, more unfortunately. So, but it was fortunate for me because my life was preparing me for cramming this fact for UPSC mains. And that's what I did. So you also choose snippets from your own life and use this material. See, I wrote it down, but I remember I could not cram it. So again, even this will get filtered. 3 crore, more than 3 crore dropout children. If I'm not wrong, I think, I may be wrong here, I think the number of orphan children is also in this figure in India, something like that. So this way you can create linkages between different facts. That's the crux of the matter.
Households without electricity also.
See, households without electricity is also 3 crore. So if there is 3, then try to link it everywhere. Households without electricity, 3 crore. Dropout children, 3 crore. So this way, flowers of your memory will spring out in your nervous system. That's what you have to do. See, 20% placement under Skill India mission, where you can use it. Obviously in skill, obviously in education, but it can also be used in, if you're talking about demographic dividend, demographic disaster, etc. It can also be used in the efficiency of government policies, how their implementation, policy implementation part of GS2. Use it. if there is a question that broadly talks about how policies of the government are not being reflected in the same rigor and figure at the ground level, use this data. 20% placement under Skill India Mission. Use it creatively. 4 A's, 3 B's, 2 C's. This is something that you can do. Access, availability, affordability, accountability. This is education body. Cannot it be something, let's say, which we can use for public distribution system? The grains should be accessible. They should be available. They should be affordable. And there should be accountability of the government official to make sure that those grains reach the vulnerable section. Use it creatively. That's your responsibility, right? From degree shops to knowledge temples. Isn't it amazing to read? Isn't it music to ears? It is. So I wrote it down because I did not take much efforts to revise it or learn it. It's very natural to me. Or it will be natural. Something else will be natural to you in the QEP. So use it. Pota Gibbons, Baste Ka Bojkam, we already talked about. I wrote it here. Ammachi Labs. Skills on Wheels, you can write it here. Chito Kutai. Now see, in Japan, mindfulness, physical education, etc. In Japan, children basically clean, sanitize their own classroom. This is a case study. This is also an ethical case study. If you learn to, you clean your own classroom, you will learn to, how to be a more mindful citizen when it comes to littering, etc. So you can use it in ethics also. See, quote here. Challenges of present assessment system, again from the QEP only. But now it looks very consumable. See, it ends here. Only 4. Now it looks consumable, right? There it was very scary. You have to make it consumable. Just precise it. Filter it as per your own understanding. Lack of bridge courses. There was a discussion a few years ago that homeopathic doctors can be given bridge courses so that they can give allopathic medicines also. It's a topic. It's a topic that you can discuss even in engineering fields. Shouldn't there be some bridge courses for electronics and communication engineering graduates so that they can also code if they want to? That is what we can talk about. But bridge courses is a keyword that should be there in your vocabulary bank. See, just from that QEP, nothing else. This is value addition in your basic core notes. Again, I'm saying. There were multiple commissions mentioned. I wrote only Kothari Commission. That's what you have to do. Yes. Where it is? Yes. Pariksha Pe Charcha we all have heard, right? Pariksha Pe Charcha Honorable Prime Minister often does, which is very creative of him. But when you write answers, you try to follow the footsteps of our Honorable Prime Minister, be more creative in your answers also. If your Prime Minister is doing Pariksha Pe Charcha, at least in your answers, you can say Bhavishya Pe Charcha. Because Bhavishya is a more broad concept. So it conveys to the examiner that you are fit to be a civil servant. You will add to the intellectual acumen of your government. This tells that. Okay? I think that pretty much sums it up. Flagship scheme. I did not write everything. There were many flagship schemes. I wrote just simple. RUSA, Rashtriya Uttachar Shiksha Abhiyan. You can write something else, which is more easy for you to write or remember. That's what you have to do. These are the facts from the National Education Policy that we read in QEP. Ends here. Higher education is a different topic. Higher Education Council of India, topic end. In very broad writing, 6 pages, enough. Revision time, at the best, half a minute. At the best, right before mains, I'm saying. Revision time, right after writing, say 15 minutes. So from 15 minutes to half a minute, you can, by multiple iterations, use this. Then forget about QEP. Then forget about that PDF. Its work is over. Now use this. That's how it will be more digested by you. So let me close it now. Now, this is, yes, as I said again and again, that QEP is not a material that helps you start your preparation. It is the material that helps you finish the need of your preparation and get selected, right? So this is my material which I made without QEP. This is my effort that I will make my material based on the syllabus. Only then the QEP will work, right? What will you do of the bullets when you don't have a gun? So this is the gun. Your own handwritten static notes, point-wise for syllabus. Then add QEP, which is the bullet, and fire at your target. This is the whole mechanism how which QEP functions. Please don't blame us tomorrow that you purchase QEP and you are not getting results. You will get results only when you have this gun, which is your own static understanding and notes. So let me, I think, just show briefly higher education, issues in education. It was there in QEP also, by the way. So there will be many times in which QEP will also address the deficit in your note making, but it is not specifically made for that. It is, as the name suggests, quality enrichment program. There should be something that needs to be enriched, right? But many times, needless to say, goes without saying, many times QEP also suffices your need for this. But you should rely on your own efforts for this. Basic notes. I made these notes by simple coaching compilations. There are various coachings and you get the basic static compilations. Use that, minimize it just the way you did for QEP. Use that. But the data in that is old. The case studies in that are not top notch. The international best practices are not there. But a basic skeleton is there of the syllabus. Create that basic skeleton, then add muscles to it, veins to it, tendons to it, ligaments to it, and then give life to it while writing answer. And in those later stages, QEP will help. I think that's pretty much. I'll close my own notes. Sir, you can share this PDF if you want later. Now I would say one more thing. What are these? These are literally last hour notes. These are the notes which are the synopsis of everything. QEP, my own education or my own static notes, everything. It gives me a mental schema right before mains. And when I say right before mains, it means I was sitting in my car in the center's compound where I was writing mains. I was eating an apple and revising this. Went ahead to write GS paper 2, fortunately got 119 marks. My performance is not constant across all the papers, but in GS2 it worked. And to be very honest, I made the best notes of GS2 only. If you have time, make it for GS1, GS3, you can still do it. Even sir was telling me that I made a mistake. I was discussing right now with sir, and I made a mistake in GS3, we'll discuss later. If I would have attended properly, because in QEP I consumed only the PDFs. If I would have seen the video, I might have not committed that mistake, and an 88 in my GS3 might have been, say, 90. So this way you can make very small pointed notes. Hijab ban was a topic, right? So here, Supreme Court split verdict. Now these are the things. Fatima Tasneem case. In current GS2 paper, they even ask the cases. Now that points to the fact in which UPSC is going in future. So if I have this Fatima Tasneem case, I'm pretty sure even if you're a lawyer and if you're not revised it and it's not in your short-term memory, you might not be able to reproduce it in exam. So you have to have your short notes. I'm telling you this because I don't want to misguide you. Even if you are using QEP, even if you have your own notes, you need to have short notes so that you can ultimately write it in mains and get selected. That is the end of the puzzle, right? Hate speech. If you remember 267th Law Commission report, you can remember this figure only when you have revised it at the last moment. Shahbano case. So, sir can share this PDF in the exam. You can see it at the channel. Now, I just wanted to show you exactly how I literally used this is GS paper 1, right?
Yes.
Yes. How I literally used in this very mains, which I fortunately by God's grace qualified. What did I do? Does urbanization lead to more segregation? or marginalization of the poor in the Indian metropolises? I'm not here to discuss the exact structure of the question because I am not very confident about it right now because it requires revision and practice. Then you enter into that mode. But I can tell you honestly, in this, I drew a diagram. That diagram, in one of the angles in which I broke this question, I used that diagram, and that diagram I got from QEP. It was a Kasai village case study. What was the case study? A simple diagram. What was the diagram? That collecting around 120 to 150 rupees per household, what was happened? With some state intervention, a milk chilling unit was created. Arrow, milk chilling unit. Sub arrow, a flour processing unit. Combine those arrows, make that the rural incomes increase. Complete the arrow, rural migration, out migration decreased. Out migration decreased, then there are more number of households to pay this 120 rupees per household. Now this good cycle is getting, prosperous cycle, the cycle of prosperity is getting strengthened. From simple QEP diagram, I used it in GS paper 1. This will happen to you also, if you use it creatively. If you see here, sir, I think it was, yes, question 30. So if you look at here, look here, account for the legal and political factors responsible for the reduced frequency of using Article 356 by the union governments. In Lakshmikant, there is a very simple statement which sounds like this. In the President's Rule chapter, in the President chapter. But will that statement suffice in mains? No. Apart from what I have written here, I also drew a diagram, which was the federalism diagram, which was there in QEP. Sir, how can I? Okay. See, this is that diagram. Read that question again. Please go back to the video. Just rewind a little bit, pause it, read the question, and then see this diagram and tell me, will it not be very good? I'll leave the space for you just for 1 second. Now, if you pause at that moment and see it, then this diagram, my dear friends, can be used in that question. This is how you have to be ready. Now, this question, I'll close it here. This question does not directly mention federalism, but Article 356, does not it talks about President's Rule? I hope it is President's Rule. Yes, it is President's Rule. Does not it talk about federalism a little bit? Is President's Rule not a subtopic under the overall discussion of federalism? Yes, you can use that diagram. I used it. If you look here, this is a question of MSMEs. Faster economic growth requires increased share of manufacturing sector in the GDP, particularly of MSMEs. Comment on the present policies of the government in this regard. I thought that I wrote a very good answer. Even right now, I was telling sir that, sir, I was very happy that I wrote this answer. Now, sir came to me and said, Beta idhara, you did a little wrong. And what I was wrong? I think wrote some other statistics which was for MSMEs overall, because MSMEs are also in service sector, they are also in manufacturing sector. So I wrote an overall statistics which is around 30% that MSME contribute this much. But here it would have been more practical, more strategic if I would have written exactly how manufacturing based MSMEs contribute to India's GDP. And this comes when you discuss over QEP. And this discussion happens in class. Because I had very little time when I got introduced to QEP, I was not able to look at the classes. I looked only at the PDFs. That comes at a cost. That cost that I just discussed. So there was this internal security question also. Yes. So winning hearts and minds, terrorism affected areas, an essential step in the trust of the population, measures adopted by the government of Kashmir, conflict resolution. See, I introduced this question by telling that just a couple of days ago, there was some unfortunate incident that had happened in our union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. I introduced it that way. That was my creativity. But from QEP, what did I use? Operation Sadbhavna. winning hearts and minds, that is there in when you look at internal security QEP module, exactly written. So you can use it here also. And winning hearts and minds, let's forget that it was written in QEP. Winning hearts and minds, what does it mean? You tell me. Like skills on wheels, the meaning of winning hearts and minds is also very clear. You can use it not only in Jammu and Kashmir's context, you can also use it in Naxalism's conflict context if the scope allows.
So thank you so much, Vaibhav.
Thank you, sir.
I think you will be surprised to know that I'm teaching from last 5 years. This is the first topper session which I attended.
Okay, sir.
आज तक कभी भी मैंने जब टॉपर आपके साथ डिस्कस करते हैं या कुछ रिकॉर्डिंग कर रहे होते हैं या उसमें, तो मैंने आज तक कभी अटेंड नहीं किया था. एंड आई एम हैप्पी टू से कि आपके सेशन से ही मैंने कुछ सीखा. आज बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो सीखने को मिलती हैं. सो आई थिंक क्यूईपी से रिलेटेड जो वैभव के हैंडआउट्स हैं वो वैभव हमारे साथ शेयर कर देंगे एंड वी विल शेयर विद यू एज वेल. और अगर आपको उनके अलावा इनके सोशियोलॉजी में बहुत अच्छा स्कोर है, सो अगर सोशियो से रिलेटेड अगर आपके कुछ डाउट्स हैं तो आप सोशल मीडिया पे इनसे रीच आउट कर सकते हैं. ही गॉट 296 आई थिंक इन सोशियोलॉजी. सो उनसे कुछ और रिलेटेड डाउट्स हैं तो यू कैन रीच आउट टू वैभव, है ना? ठीक है. थैंक यू सो मच.